For a character that is a variant herself, Spider Gwen sure has a lot of alternates all her own, and a lot of different code names that she's gone by. Can you name them all? Welcome back, Nerd Squad. It's me, Amanda. Join me today as we count down the top 10 alternate versions of Spider Gwen, and let me know which spider-themed hero is your favorite in the comments. Number 10. Animated Spiderverse. I love this version of Gwen, although really she is pretty similar to her comic book counterpart, but maybe that's why I love her so much. One thing she does have that her comic book counterpart does not is an audible voice. In both Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, Gwen is voiced by Haley Steinfeld, who does an amazing job. I love how much we've gotten to explore her story, and I am hoping we get to spend a bit more time in her Earth, the animated Earth 65, going forward in the franchise. And friends, before we move on to our next spot on this list, if you love what we do here at Top 10 Nerd, and if you love alternate versions, we do have an alternate versions playlist, so you can click it, check it out. Number 9. Ghost Spider-Man. While only making a brief appearance in the comics, I have to mention this one. You know me, I'm a big Spider-Man fan, so any opportunity to talk about her, I am here for it, and I'm here for this one too. Unfortunately for me, she actually is an alternate that is both a combination of her and Ghost Spider. Ghost Spider-Man is one of the alternate heroic versions of May that appears in Spider-Verse issue number 2, when she summons the power of her alternates to defeat the Carnage variant. The costume Ghost Spider-Man wears is near identical to Gwen's, and for those who don't know, Ghost Spider is also the codename for Gwen. Like I said, she has had many codenames. Number 8. Witch Hunter Gwen. This one comes to us from an alternate cover, but I wanted to include it here because I love the design and I love the idea of Gwen in such a different role as this. This alternate version of Gwen appeared solely on the 2015 cover for 1602 Witch Hunter Angela issue number 1. At least, I believe we've only seen her here. This isn't the only time Gwen would appear as an alternate on a cover though either. During the summer of 2015, we were all suffering from Gwen fever, and as such she appeared on 20 different alternate covers, with all of them featuring different versions of Gwen. And since then, she's also had her own Gwenverse sort of come about, so there's a lot of Spider Gwen out there running around, a lot of variants. Number 7. Ghost Spider. Not really a full-on alternate of Gwen, but another character that uses this same name, Ghost Spider. And I like Ghost Spider, so I thought I would include him. Ghost Spider is actually an alternate Peter Parker from Earth 11638. He is the version of Spider-Man who never lost his uncle. Instead, Uncle Ben helped Peter with his training, but also kind of turned him into a monster. Peter in this world was extremely successful, a wealthy celebrity scientist and philanthropist who also fought crime as the vigilante Amazing Spider. However, he started to use his technology to trap other spider variants from other worlds so he could drain them of their powers, taking all that power for himself. Having never learned the lesson, with great power comes great responsibility, but instead, with great power comes a great responsibility to stay powerful from his uncle. However, when 616 Spider-Man was about to be drained, this alternate version had actually a change of heart and ended up sacrificing himself to free the main reality Peter, seemingly perishing but really becoming something new, becoming one with his regrets and the souls of the underworld. He was revived as Ghost Spider. No hyphen. And he's basically kind of like Ghost Rider meets Spider-Man, but he also uses the name Ghost Spider, so I just thought he would be an interesting one to include since he uses the same name that Spider-Gwen uses now currently in the comics. Number 6. Secret Wars. This version of Spider-Gwen is from the 2015 A-Force series. She was an alternate from the reality of Earth 16191, one of the protectors of Doom's battle world realm known as Arcadia, one of the patchwork domains from God Emperor Doom's kingdom that appeared during the 2015 Secret Wars event. In this reality, Spider-Gwen saved MJ from a Marvel Zombies horde, and it's kind of implied that the two may have some kind of romantic relationship in this universe. Or I don't know, they just seemed kind of flirty to me, so I could be wrong there, but picking up on some flirting. My flirting meter went off. Number 5. Gwenom. Not the official name of this character, but a name that I gave them. While on Earth 65, a Spider-Gwen actually does become Venom for a time, there is actually a version of her who stays as Venom and also becomes a detective. And actually the version, the name that we know Gwen as is kind of Gwenom, or like that's the editorial name, or Venom, but this version is Venom all the time, so I just thought why not just call her Gwenom, but she doesn't go by that name, just so you know. This is pretty cool though, right? This Gwen variant is from the alternate reality of of Earth 617, where her origin story was actually the same as the 616 Gwen Stacy counterpart, up until she had a run-in with her own alternate from Earth 65, which caused the timeline to split, hence why her reality is known as 617. Get it? It's 616, but like one change. After the death of her father, George Stacy, which Gwen initially blamed Spider-Man for, Gwen ran into Spider Gwen of Earth 65. Following their run-in with one another, where each was able to kind of provide some insight that helped the other, Gwen of Earth 617 was inspired to become a detective. Later, she would bond with the Venom symbiote of her Earth, becoming the hero known as Spider-Woman. But I like to call her Gwenom, just because if I called everyone Spider-Woman on this list, it'd be confusing. Speaking of, number 4, Spider-Woman. Seriously, one of the cutest realities around. On this Earth, Spider-Gwen is married to Miles Morales, and the two of them actually have kids together, one daughter and one son. Their children also inherited superpowers and fought for justice alongside their mom and dad as members of the Amazing Eight. The Amazing Eight is Earth 8's premier superhero team, which is made up of actual spider heroes from across the multiverse. This Gwen is not just a member of the Amazing Eight team, but also belongs to the Council of Spider-Women, which is made up of, well, you guessed it, alternate versions of Spider-Woman from across the Marvel multiverse, or Spiderverse if you prefer. Number 3, Ghost Spider, with the hyphen. Ghost Spider is technically the main version of this character, but the weird thing is that although she may be more popular than the original Gwen Stacy from Marvel Comics at this point, who has been long gone, Spider Gwen, or Ghost Spider as she is now known, actually started off herself as a variant. However, she has become so popular among fans that she's kind of become more known now as the main version of that character, which is kind of wild to think about. So even though it feels weird to have her on this list, as you know, she is the main person to inspire the variants that are on the list, she's the main person that inspired this list, it feels weird to not have her on here since she herself was inspired by the original Gwen Stacy of Earth 616. So really, she's a variant. Ghost Spider has been known by many names, initially being known as Spider-Woman before becoming Venom in her reality, and later becoming more well known as Spider Gwen until recently in 2019, when she took the codename of Ghost Spider for herself. Number 2, Gwen Stacy. Gwen Stacy is technically also a main version of Gwen, if not, you know, the main version of Gwen, since she herself was the original. She hails from Earth 616, known as the main Marvel continuity in the comics. Here, Gwen's story was cut short when she was tragically killed during a fight between Green Goblin and Spider-Man. Being tossed from either George Washington or Brooklyn Bridge, depending on the version that you're reading of this story, Gwen plummeted towards the ground. Without enough time to catch her himself, Spider-Man shot a web towards her. This succeeded in securing Gwen, saving her from the fall, but tragically is believed to have caused Gwen's neck to snap, instantly killing her. Still, while Gwen is no longer among the living in the Earth 616 universe, her presence is constantly felt, with her friends and loved ones constantly remembering her and keeping her memory alive. Most recently, Spider-Man saw the progenitor adopt the image of Gwen during the AXE Judgment Day event, while acting as his judge, which shows you just how important Gwen still is to Peter even today, despite her being gone for so long from his life. Number 1, Gwenpool. Gwenpool is one of my favorite Gwen alternates. She is actually an alternate version of 2 different characters, a mashup of Gwen Stacy and Deadpool, hence Gwenpool. Gwenpool originates from a world where superheroes exist only in fiction, which has led many to believe that she exists in our universe, Earth 1218, the real world. However, Gwen doesn't actually have an official designated number for her Earth yet, so it's still kind of up for debate. Regardless, Gwen preferred to live in a fantasy world and eventually did end up in a fantasy world, coming to Earth 616. Finally existing in a world where superheroes were real, Gwen set out to become one herself, going out and getting a costume and ending up unintentionally with the hero name of Gwenpool. That's about it. Until next time, you stay nerdy, YouTube.